Have you ever just looked at someone and thought, how do they do it? They just stick to their good habits while the rest of us feel like we're constantly fighting an uphill battle? Well, here's the secret. It's not about having more willpower or motivation. Nope, it's all about having the right system. And today, we're going to break down the absolutely game-changing framework from James Clear's Atomic Habits.
So, let's talk about this number, 1%. I mean, what is that really? It sounds like, well, like nothing. It's so small, so insignificant, you'd probably barely even notice it. But what if you did that? What if you made just that one tiny change every single day?
Okay, so this is where it gets crazy. That tiny 1%, it's all about the magic of compounding. If you get just 1% better every single day, by the end of the year, you're not 1% better, you're nearly 38 times better. Think about that. But, and this is a huge but, it works both ways. If you get 1% worse each day, that also compounds, and it'll drive you almost all the way down to zero. It's exactly like compound interest, but for your life.
So, if this is true, why is it so hard to stick with things? Why do we give up? Well, it's because we expect to see results right away. We think progress should be this nice straight line going up. But in reality, for a long time, it feels like nothing is happening. You're putting in all this work, and for what? This is what James Clear calls the plateau of latent potential, or my personal favorite, the valley of disappointment. And man, it is frustrating, because you can't see that all your effort is actually building up under the surface.
Here's a perfect way to think about it, the ice cube analogy. Imagine you've got an ice cube in a really cold room. You start warming the room up from 28 degrees to 29, 30, 31, and you're looking at the ice cube, and it's just sitting there. Still an ice cube, nothing's changed. But then you hit 32 degrees, and bam! Breakthrough, the melt begins. See, all that work you did raising the temperature wasn't wasted for a second. It was all being stored up, waiting for that one single degree that would unlock this massive, visible change.
All right, so here's maybe the biggest mindset shift in the whole book. Ready? Forget about your goals. I know, it sounds crazy, but think about it. Winners and losers, they have the exact same goals. Everyone wants to win the championship, right? The difference isn't the goal, it's the system. See, a goal is just a moment in time. What happens after you cross the finish line? But a system, that's the process you follow every day. That's what drives real long-term progress. You've got to fall in love with the process, not just the prize at the end.
Okay, so we've got the why. We know these tiny habits are super powerful. Now for the fun part, the how. Like, what's actually going on inside our brains that makes this stuff work? Well, it all boils down to something called the habit loop. This is the simple, powerful science behind literally everything you do.
Every single one of your habits, good or bad, follows this exact same four-step pattern. It's a feedback loop. First, there's a cue, which is just a trigger. That leads to a craving, the motivation to act. Then comes the response. That's the habit itself. And finally, you get a reward, which feels good and tells your brain, hey, let's do that again. Cue, craving, response, reward. This loop is running on autopilot in your brain right now.
So if this loop is running our lives, how the heck do we get in the driver's seat? Well, it's actually pretty simple. You can't just hope for a change or wish for a new habit. You have to get in there and re-engineer the loop itself. And that is where the 4 laws of behavior change come in. These are the practical, real-world levers you can pull to take back control.
Think of this as the ultimate cheat sheet for your brain. It's so elegant. To build a good habit, you just walk down the list. You make the cue obvious, the craving attractive, the action easy, and the reward satisfying. And what if you want to break a bad habit? You do the exact opposite. You flip it on its head. Make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and totally unsatisfying.
All right, let's dive into law number 1. Make it obvious. Look, your environment is like this invisible hand guiding your actions all day long. So if you want to change your behavior, change your environment. You're just way more likely to do something if the cue is staring you in the face. So you got to become the architect of your own world. Want to practice guitar more? Don't hide it in a case in the closet. Put it on a stand right in the middle of your living room. Want to eat more fruit? Get it out of the crisper drawer and put it in a bowl on the counter. Make the good choices the easiest ones to see. Okay, law number 2, make it attractive. And a brilliant way to do this is a strategy called temptation bundling. It sounds fancy, but it's simple. You just link something you want to do with something you need to do. The classic example is this. You only allow yourself to watch your favorite show while you're on the treadmill or the exercise bike. Pretty soon, your brain starts to actually crave the workout because it knows it gets the reward of that show it loves. Next up, law number 3, make it easy. This one is all about lowering the barrier to entry, reducing the friction. And the most powerful tool for this is the 2-minute rule. The idea is any new habit you want to start should take less than 2 minutes to do. So run 3 miles is way too big. Instead, the habit becomes put on my running shoes. Do 30 minutes of yoga becomes roll out my yoga mat. Read before bed becomes read 1 page. You see, you make it so easy you can't say no.
Now, a lot of people think the 2-minute rule is just a cute little trick. But the real magic isn't about the 2 minutes. The real goal is to master the habit of just showing up. It's about standardizing the beginning of the process. Because once you put on your running shoes, you're probably going to go for a run. Once you start, it's so much easier to just keep going.
And that brings us to the final law. Number 4, make it satisfying. Here's the thing about our brains. They're wired for immediate gratification. We want rewards, and we want them now. So to make a habit stick, you have to give your brain that little hit of satisfaction right away. And a super simple, kind of brilliant way to do this is the paperclip strategy. You get 2 jars. Every time you do your habit, say, make 1 sales call, you move a single paperclip from 1 jar to the other. Just watching that done jar fill up gives your brain a tangible visual reward that it absolutely loves.
Okay, so we've got these 4 amazing laws. But here's the thing. All these strategies, all these little tricks, they're all pointing towards something way deeper, way more important. Because the ultimate goal of building good habits isn't about having something, it's about becoming someone. It's about changing who you believe you are.
This, for me, is the most powerful idea in the whole book. James Clear says every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Just let that sink in. Every single thing you do is casting a tiny vote. When you make your bed, you're casting a vote for being an organized person. When you go for a run, even a short one, you're casting a vote for being a runner.
And that simple shift in focus changes everything. Suddenly, the goal isn't to read a book, the goal is to become a reader. The goal isn't to run a marathon, the goal is to become a runner. You're not chasing an outcome anymore. You're building evidence, little by little, for your new identity. Because true lasting behavior change is identity change. So how do we actually do this? It's a beautiful, simple 2-step process. Step 1, decide. Decide what kind of person you want to be. What are your principles? What do you want to stand for? And step 2, prove it. Prove it to yourself with small wins. Use those tiny atomic habits to cast those votes, building up your new identity, 1 paperclip, 1 page, 1 minute at a time. Because in the end, that's what it's all about. Success isn't about some massive, once-in-a-lifetime transformation. It's the product of your daily habits. So the question I want to leave you with isn't about some huge change you're going to make tomorrow or next week. It's about right now, today. What is one small, tiny vote you can cast for your future self?